everyone. I am Marilee Milmo, and welcome to my show. Today's show is monumental in many ways, so please feel free to share with anyone you know that you feel would be interested in it. This is the first free public detailed announcement by Alex Collier, my guest, providing all the details for the long-awaited rollout of the advanced holographic medical beds, as well as the latest updates on the positive financial reset. Both appear to be imminent, and there, of course, are always challenges, because as we get closer to absolute victory, the more regressives will raise their heads and panic and try to, mess it up. So it's really important that we all keep our frequencies high, and that we will discuss later on in the show a little bit about leadership that Alex learned from his two Andromedan mentors, and how all of us are co-creators and we can still make this happen, because we are very, very, very close to it happening. So my guest Alex is a fifth density Andromedan emissary, elder, and contactee. He has had the two mentors from Andromeda throughout his life. Mornay is a 7.5 foot tall, blue-skinned Andromedan who is 2,500 years old and looks about 30. And Theseus is also an Andromedan and shorter in stature. Now, as I understand it, the Xanae, which is a group in Andromeda, have the most advanced holographic regenerative medical beds, because there are several different types. These previously secret holographic medical beds have been my passion for 20 years, so I am excited about Alex revealing the details that are planned, which will be the beginning eventually of many suppressed inventions and technologies and beneficial health modalities coming forward after this. Now, I have followed Alex since his first talk in 1991, and for 30 years, Alex was one of the first, if not the first, to teach about the overall big picture game on Earth, or Terra, as it's referred to galactically. He includes the true history of our planet and all of us humans and who we really are, which are hybrids with 22 royal extraterrestrial DNA species and cultures in our DNA. I've known him to work tirelessly under unimaginable pressures and hardships to help awaken the human race that has been programmed. The good news is now, this is the final clinching point, there are more of us becoming aware and awake and starting to remember our true nature and history, which is indeed stored inside our DNA. So the Advanced Benevolent Andromedan Council has been pivotal for us, because they were the first to advise top leaders and military that in 300 years from now, our solar system would become completely tyrannical and with enslaved humans. And that tyranny originated in Earth, then the Moon, and Mars. So, needless to say, that bit of news really, I believe, coaxed us all into cooperating more together and moving faster along. Now, Alex himself, as you can see, is a fifth density, 10-foot Andromedan captain who was aboard a spacecraft that unfortunately crash landed on Earth as he was traveling through the sector when the huge galactic wars were occurring. And he got engaged in some skirmishes, which ended up having him reincarnate on Earth, much to his chagrin, right, Alex? So, welcome, Alex, and many thanks for being on this show with your super busy schedule. I so appreciate who you are and send you a big hug.
Thank you, Marilee. It's an honor and a privilege for me to be here. Just to button some things up in the beginning there, they are the Zenetes, Zeneteans, that's the name of their system.
Okay.
They are in fifth density. Mornay is still alive. Visayas, however, has crossed over. That was September of 98. November of 98, he crossed over. So, so yeah, it's just Mornay. And as far as the tyranny actually began to reach into fifth density. And they found out that it started, the nucleus of it started in our solar system. So, and you were right about in the very beginning, your opening statements about the fact that, as we get closer to, the Earth and the human race has had several moments where we were able to break free, where we were going to make a huge leap in consciousness. Earth has been close to ascension a couple of times. And then, of course, something happens and it doesn't happen. And then we look at many thousands of years of the same bullshit over and over and over again. But we never had the supports off planet that we do now. And we've never had the impetus of other star nations to really make sure that this happens. Because if this doesn't happen now or in this next time period that we're in, it dramatically affects them, which is why they've come back in time to assist us. So as much as of the great information we're going to share today, there's a lot of things going on in the background between the light and the dark. And we have to keep that in mind.
And we've had tremendous help and will continue to be.
Yes, I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe that.
As long as we don't allow fear or doubt or depression to get in our ways.
Well, that only comes with a lack of information and knowledge, I think. I think once everyone understands what's really going on and they can look at all of the remarkable changes that have already occurred, just in the last 5, 6, 10 years, 15 years. The med beds, for one, look at this amazing technology. The fact that we even know about it, the fact that, they're actually building these for us. This is not a dark agenda. This is a light agenda. And the fact that that this is even going on should inspire everyone and encourage everyone to understand that, we are moving in a very positive direction, and the future of humanity is one of immense brightness. And we have to know that. We have to hold that vision. We have to demand that that's what it's going to be. And at the same time, we have to create it. And in so creating it, we have to understand that, who we're dealing with. These are people, these are beings that so loathed humanity that they decided they could do whatever they wanted, not only to us in creating wars and killing the youth and killing young men, but the children, the things that they have been doing to children for a very, very long time, that they just feel they can do whatever they want with us. That's how little respect, that's how little they actually think of us. And, we have to take that to heart. And in taking it to heart, we have to absolutely stand our ground and say, no more. This ends now. And then we have to protect each other. We have got to stand together. Out of all the star nations out there, every single one of them doesn't see race. They see one humanity here. And yet we allow these things, the media, to divide us, to separate us. It's all wordplay to divide and conquer. And we have made it easy for them by complying.
Yes.
And we just can't
People don't understand the law of compliance, and that's really important to know.
Yeah, yeah. This is why they have no respect, because we've gone along to get along.
Unify, no longer become ignorant. Learn the truth.
Well, we have to understand who has been in control. We
Mm-hmm.
have to understand that they have not, in any way, shape, or form, empowered us personally. What they have done is they've taken our souls, our spirits, our inner knowing, and they've forced everything to the outside where we could be controlled by media and emotionally manipulated. To
Yes.
jump, hop, run, skip, yell, get mad, be aggressive, whatever they wanted to do to us, they've done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we fall.
Which is why I'm going to have you share later on in the show certain things that are really important about empowering one another and for all of us to step up. Why don't we now go to the medbed
Okay.
rollouts? And because that was something that came forward this past week. And then you have added some updates, and I've added a few updates. And this is very positive. Do know that some people are working on squelching this, but I want every single one of the members of the audience to recognize that they're co-creators, and we can demand this to come forward, and we can visualize this coming forward, and we can support it coming forward. Because this can be imminent. So, Alex, why don't you go ahead and share anything you would like to about the details?
Well, I can read this rewritten and updated document that I have and that I've shared previous. And of course, we can share this updated version as well for everyone, with everyone. So let's just start it off. The MedBeds is holographic technology. It's also color, light, and sound. This technology, this knowledge has been around since before Atlantis on this planet, and it has existed off-world for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of years, with other star nations and star traveling pioneers.
Mm-hmm.
They understood a very, very long time ago that our bodies are holographic, that we are essentially made of color, light, and sound. And it wasn't until, 25, 30 years ago that we were able to scientifically prove that by looking at the body under an electron microscope. And what they did not see was physicality. What they saw was light. Now, Nikola Tesla had talked about all these types of different technologies or concepts that he knew to be true simply because he was a genius, but of course he was having contact in his own way as well during his lifetime. But he was just the genius. And I don't know that there's been anyone like him since. But the technology wasn't there for him to actually put all of this together to where it is today. Unfortunately, he didn't live long enough. So, essentially what we're talking about here is healing the human body. Now, the holographic camera that the A's use, they call it a camera. What it does is it takes a picture of your body. And this picture, because it's holographic, is a picture of the present time when the picture is being taken, and it goes all the way back to conception. And what they do is they will go through these series of slides that are taken in this one picture. And what they will do is they will pull out the particular slides of where your body was the healthiest, whether it's kidneys, liver, muscle, knees, brain, heart, it doesn't matter. And what they will do is they will put those pictures together and create a new hologram. And then what they will do is they will overlay that holographic picture onto your physical body, literally healing it and renewing your body while you're there. It's just, there are no words. And to them, it's simple because they understand. They have all the knowledge. Nothing's been suppressed for them, and they understand who we are and what we are. Here on Earth, however, and in other star systems that have been controlled and manipulated by the Orion group, we haven't had that education or that knowledge. But nonetheless, this technology is coming out. This technology has been created. It is in use, I'm sure, in Black projects. I am sure that it has been used on humanity, humans of some sort, maybe the elite. We hear that it's being used on the children that are pulled from the underground dumps. We can sincerely hope that that is in fact true, because they certainly would deserve it. It should have been being used on veterans, combat wounded, civilians damaged by war. It should have been in use for quite some time now, but it hasn't been. It has been suppressed. And as you are fully aware, there's a battle between the light and the dark, on the surface, underground, and all around us, and going into the fourth dimension. There is a battle going on between light and dark. The light's going to win this.
Yes, it is.
The light's going to win this. This is where this ends. This is where all this nonsense ends. When we find out the truth, we're going to go through several stages of emotional upset, disbelief, anger, and then resolve. And the last part, the resolve, is where humanity makes the difference, and it makes it shift permanently. And that emotion, that knowing of resolve, is not only going to change and alter our DNA, it's going to change and alter the DNA of all generations behind us coming up to desire and to cherish freedom, that this never happens again. Because we've been played for fools. So there are many lifestyle changes that are going to have to be addressed by humanity as we wake up and we become consciously more aware of who we truly are and the divinity in which we express.
Yes.
Okay, so with the med beds, living to at least 100 years old should be a snap. In fact, we should live well into the 200s. Very capable, and it's possible that the younger people are, and they make these changes in lifestyle, and they continue to use the med beds. It could very well be that, they will live, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe going as far as 300 to 400 years or longer. We just simply don't know. But what this does for our generation and the generations behind us currently on the planet is it gives us an opportunity to not only live longer and to live healthier, but at the same time, we can use the wisdom we are acquiring now with all the disclosure and everything that's coming to light to make sure that we live longer so that we can lay down a real solid foundation for all these future generations yet to come. And the generations on this planet, as we pass the baton to them, we are sure they're ready for it. That we have not held back any knowledge, any information. We have not held back anything from them. And this would be the installment in the institution of the law of consistency, which every evolved star nation uses.
Yes.
We haven't. We have dumbed down future generations so that they would be malleable and controllable. This can no longer be allowed to occur. So, this is a very defining moment for humanity in so many ways, and we're just touching on some of them today. The frequency of the medbed creates energy patterns that accesses the DNA and organizes it. It says geometrically, but there's a lot more to it. You have to understand the body itself is a holograph. So is our DNA. How DNA even comes into existence is something everyone should understand. And the fact that when DNA moves and it transfers, it'll move from one place to another, but it goes into another dimension. It literally disappears from third density and reappears somewhere else in third density. That's who you are. That's who all of us are. The way it organizes, the DNA itself is an antenna, drawing frequencies and energies from the source, the quantum field. What you think is what you create. How you see yourself is who you become. The med beds will only amplify what you believe and think of yourself. So, was it Aristotle said, always know thyself?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's the first order of the day. No matter what the tech is, you have got to be solid about who you are. You must know who you are. You must love yourself. You must respect yourself. And in so doing, everyone around you will respect you because that's the vibration and the frequency you carry. If you don't, then that's what you're going to express. And that's what you're going to draw to you. Okay, home use. The med beds at this particular time, and I don't know how many years that will be, they will not be for sale in the home. They are, however, going to be used at very specific locations. In the beginning of the rollout, they will be rolled out by the military. They will be training people on these particular med beds. They will be training staff as things go along. They want to be sure that this is not used in a nefarious way or manner to harm humanity or humans or any life on this planet, because the med beds will actually treat all living things on the planet.
Including animals, right? And people's pets and everything.
Well, that's all living things, yeah. So critters, be able to save your critters, your lizards. Okay. This
geckos.
Geckos. That's right. The little gecko lizard. He'll be here 300 years from now. Yep.
Exactly.
Oh my God. This of course will inspire people to, not only live longer, but to want to accomplish more things. Yes. This will, give everyone a breath of life so that they can go out and do the things they've always wanted to do, whether it's painting or inventing or architecture, or it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that people wanted to do, they will now be more inspired to do it because, you don't have this short window to accomplish everything that you wanted to, and being poisoned by the atmosphere and everything else that was done intentionally. So because you have a longer life, you will be inspired to do more, to live more, to experience more, and to teach what you know to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Because if you have a longevity of 250 years or more, you will see your great-grandchildren, your great-great-great-grandchildren. You will be able to participate and be part of teaching them your family's history, the knowledge that you've acquired. The assistance of showing them what the old world was like and what the new world is and the promise that it holds. And you can participate in that knowledge, in that teaching, in that mentoring of multiple generations of your lineage to empower them. And you can be directly involved with all of that. This, of course, will inspire a lot more abundance and prosperity for not only yourselves, but your families, and you can provide and train your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren in the ways of prosperity so that all future generations of your tribe will not need to be dependent on anyone else, especially government, for anything.
Yes.
The maximum, the timetable of treatments, maximum treatments needed. Now, this says no more than 3 times. This is currently what it is as the med technology continues to advance. That could change in the future, but as of right now, that's what it is. You can go to the med bed at least 3 times in a lifetime. But after that, apparently they say there's side effects. But again, like in all military technology, not that this is military, but it will be controlled and managed by the military. Anyone who's been a military contractor or a defense contractor, we know that every single year that goes by, military technology advances at least 40 years. So, as of today, this is the maximum treatments allowed, but that, of course, can change, just so that you're aware of it.
And these treatments will be free.
All these treatments are going to be free.
Which is a huge deal. A huge deal.
And what this means for everyone is that when you get off this med bed, and how much time it is for you to actually fully realize the benefits of it, whether it's a week or a few weeks or a month, you can drop all your medications. You will be able to drop your medications and all these treatments that you've been taking and spending a fortune on that have all these multiple side effects. And you'll be able to let those go, and that will not only free up your time, but it'll also free up resources so that you can begin to move into a direction and go after what it is you truly want. There will be no more excuses to not do what you want and what you're capable of doing.
And many people, as I understand it, Alex, that are nurses or doctors, many of them will be retrained in the use of the holography and these advanced health techniques and the training will be also free. I understand.
Yes, that is correct. But they're going to be very, very specific and selective as to who they allow to manage and run and operate this technology.
Pure-hearted and high morals.
Well, yes, I think a genuine, true compassion for humanity is a single must, because there's no profit involved in this. So your motivation can't be the money. Your motivation has to be love and compassion for humanity, to want to see people healed. And if you don't have that, they won't let you near these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because like all technology, things can be abused.
Now, the vision that I get is as these centers open up, the personnel and the people training are not just humans, but they also will be human-looking, benevolent sisters and brothers from the stars. We could call them extraterrestrial.
It is implied that there will be alliance members associated with the use of this technology and the rollout of the technology. They haven't come right out and said ETs, but they have said alliance.
Yes.
And, technically we're talking about the same thing. But yes, most of them will look like us until we become accustomed to the idea that we are not alone, we've never been alone, and that we have family, that we have fellow groups of humanity, tribes of humanity that live in other worlds and in other places. And it has always been such.
Indeed. And isn't the positive white hat military the ones who are doing a lot of this training, building a lot of these med beds, both off-world and on-world?
This is what we're told. This is what we're told.
Okay.
That it is the white hats who are doing this. And I am sure that they have been and are still being mentored themselves. Going out into space with the imperialistic psychology that everyone's taught on the surface, going out into space and realizing through confrontation and or face-to-face meetings with other extraterrestrial races, what they have learned is that we have been taught very regressive tendencies. We have been taught a very divided consciousness strategy that would pit us against anyone else. And that simply not only doesn't really exist out there amongst 85+% of the star nations out there, but that it is something that's going to be dramatically opposed by all these star nations. And through conversations, many of our space fleets and the alliance members, they have come together, and humanity is about to learn that we belong to this huge, huge galactic family. And we have been isolated apart from them by groups that have controlled the surface of the planet by hiding underneath it. And they've held us back. They have dramatically held us back from not only our potential, but our true knowledge of who we truly are. And that's all coming to an end. And we spoke of that earlier about, going through different progressions of the knowledge and experiencing emotions attached to it. Okay, age regression. Age regression is something that the medbeds also do. They will take off at a minimum 20 years of your age. They will bring your body back to those original times, or your body back 20 years into its youth. It could be that it can take you even further back. The interesting thing to note, though, is that in going back, doing the age regression, what your body had at that particular time, the nutrients and the things that your body needed, you are going to have to supplement and add to your lifestyle now. Because much of the food that we eat today has lost a great deal of its nutritional value because of the way it's been harvested and grown through corporate mega companies.
Mm-hmm.
They basically have been selling filler for humanity. They haven't been, the nutrition isn't always there, in
Right.
other words. And in order for your body to stay in that age regression, you're going to have to do things differently, eat differently, take supplements. Many things are going to have to change as well with this. Farming's going to have to change. Nutritional knowledge is going to have to change. Many things are going to change with the advancement of these technologies, because these technologies, as wonderful as they are, they're going to show us who we are. And then the responsibility for you to maintain your physicality is going to be on you. And, that's a fascinating journey for all of us to take.
Yes.
It really is. If you haven't done it already, there won't be any more couch potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you realize how you've aged your body, you're going to look at things a lot differently, especially if your choice is to stay here and to participate.
Yes. Well, let's keep going over all the different treatment abilities, like what it can do.
The med beds are said to be able to regrow organs. Now, if you know someone who is on the list for a heart transplant, that may not be necessary anymore. It may very well be that they would be able to be in a position to get into the med beds and they could regrow their heart. It can grow limbs. So we're looking at veterans who are amputees, children born without limbs, that are paraplegic, those who suffered from car accidents, virtually any reason, any experience that they've had where they have lost a limb. The med beds are said to be able to grow limbs. So not only organs, but limbs. So an entire industry would be looking to go out of business, and that would be the prosthesis industry. Because if you can grow organs, or limbs, then the only reason you would use one is you would be using one until it was your turn to go in for your appointment to sit in the med bed and have all those things repaired for you. And that's a very, very exciting prospect for a lot of people. Especially veterans who have lost legs and other limbs, and they want to be able to run and play with their children again, and just to feel whole after the tremendous sacrifice that they have made, for all of us. So
it can, according to the super soldiers I've interviewed who've had their limbs regenerated multiple times, it definitely does it, and it can do it anywhere with something minor in, say, an hour or a half hour regenerate. And it can almost do the entire body up to several hours. And then you have a brief period of time afterwards where they just want to make sure you're fine and you rest. And then they send them off to battle again. So it's very exciting. And I know the priorities have been the children first that had gone through horrific things, and then the military, and then civilians. So we're starting to hear about possible civilian rollout at the first part or mid part of next year, maybe. What do you think about that?
That's what they're saying, mid January. And so we're talking about the fourth week of January. That there should be public announcements regarding this technology. And that's another thing. You talk about super soldiers being repaired and going back into battle. With this conscious awakening of what is and what isn't, I think we can all look forward to a tremendous long future of no wars.
Yes.
What they have done to humanity has been devastating. The knowledge lost, the history lost, the lives lost. It's been tragic. It's been absolutely tragic. And, that is something that humanity, well, we just have to make sure that that doesn't continue, because the toll has just been, it's dramatic. Okay.
It is. And so there's many things, folks, not only that what Alex mentioned, but addictions, chemo, get rid of damage from that, allergies. Your teeth can be regenerated, restraightened, overweight. You can return to your ideal weight, vision and hearing, scars disappear, orthopedic issues, basically depression, but you do have to do your own homework for the causes. I know that in extreme circumstances, they have mind swiping abilities for post-traumatic stress. And they can take out genetic issues that were defective from birth, like estrogen dominance or methylation issues. So it's incredible what these beds will do. And thicker hair, we like that. And eyesight improvement. And height changes. So that all sounds pretty good to me. How about you, Alex?
Oh, it does. And then how could you not be excited about some of those things? Especially being an elder or vintage, as the young people like to call us, because they take for granted, they have all these things, and they haven't experienced losing those things.
Yes.
Yeah, we have the wisdom to understand that, that not everything stays always the same, that things do change. And we have an appreciation for that. So if we were able to get some of those things back, if not all of those things back, that would be nothing short of a miracle for many of us.
It would be. Now, I know we'll get there, because I just absolutely know, just unequivocally. So
memories, people who are suffering from dementia, Alzheimer's, regardless of the cause of those, they will be able to get their memories back and, be well into their hundreds, be sharp as a tack. That would be incredible. Those who have been lifelong smokers or who have lung disease or lung cancer, these med beds will not only cure them, but they will more than likely completely lose their addiction to the tobacco. So when you get up, you will not have another cigarette after that. And you will have the knowledge and the wisdom to know what it did to you all those many years. The ability to learn information, multiple languages, multiple educational experiences, such as, geography, archaeology. These are all many things that we can learn at an extremely fast pace, without maybe having to spend years and years and years reading books. This knowledge can be shared with us in a more or less downloaded fashion, so that, before we even go to the schools, we already have a working knowledge of what it is we're going to be studying. And what that means is more time in the field, more times out of the classroom,
yes,
and in the field experiencing and doing the real work, which is a problem because a lot of children today are completely bored in classrooms. They want to be outside. They want to be expending their energy in their bodies because they're young. They have all this vitality. And there could be, we'd have to shift and change all of the educational programs to have the children more outside, more implementing, interacting in a physical way than sitting in a classroom for hours and hours and hours looking at pictures in a book.
I totally agree. And there's a few experimental schools that are using that rather than just theory looking at a book. They're starting apprenticing. You know, you can apprentice in 3 different subjects during the the year. That's what I always saw as true education. And with these downloads where you can learn new languages in an hour, 2 hours, and longer living, we're going to be able to serve not out of survival, but to serve out of vitality, following our heart's desire.
Right.
One of the quotes of your Andromedan mentors that I've always really, really appreciated, and it's a great waker-upper for everyone that you shared many times, is when the Andromedan said, why? I can prove to you that you've been programmed, humans. And you asked why, and they said, because you've never asked yourself this question: why do I need to pay for a planet I'm born on? And that is profound. I think that really shifts a lot of people.
It's actually, why do you have to pay to live on a planet you were
on a planet? There you go.
That you were born on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
nobody else has to do that.
Yes, exactly. All the things that we're just automatically programmed in that we don't reevaluate are all going to shift. And it's very exciting. Do you believe that we are now fully, because we've been dealing with the temporal timelines and wars, that we are now fully stabilized in the more positive timeline?
Yes.
Yes, I do too.
We're on one timeline now.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's heading into the future. It is not heading for a brick wall. It is not heading for Armageddon. It is not heading to the apocalypse. It isn't the end of the world. It is none of that. That is not our destiny.
That's what I feel too. I wanted to mention that the idea of the possible rollout is that everyone will be notified. There will be a number down the line that you can call. You will set up an appointment, and maybe you should mention a little bit about, we'll be shifting to quantum computer. And this also gets into one of the questions I wanted to ask you later, which was the whole reset, financial reset, Nasara and Jasara.
Elon Musk said that the quantum internet would be up by the end of January.
January 2022. Yeah.
Yes. They are trying to get it done by January 1st, but more than likely all the kinks will be out of it the following month. So by the end of January, it will be fully operational. Once that goes online and it's up, then the quantum financial system has its platform. And even though it's being used now, that will take it globally. That will make it global. And a lot of things that we do every day, business-wise, and personally, will shift. Personal banking, private banking, commercial banking. There'll be a lot of changes, and it might take years for everything to shift over, because it has to be done in stages, because there's a learning curve for everyone on how this works. But the beautiful thing about this system is that your knowledge, your information, your data is completely safe. And it is a blockchain ledger. In other words, organized crime, drug trafficking, the movements of money that are all associated with corruption will cease to exist.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything's exposed.
Yes. And I believe they're going to be using the quantum computers also for the intake of everyone's health, and then determining the locations for people's treatment on the med beds, et cetera. So it's going to be across.
Well, you know, there's no guarantee that it's going to be up yet. I think when you go into the med bed facility, to the med bed center, and it's time for your appointment, there will be a setup where they're using a quantum computer that's connected to the med bed. It is not a global web type of thing yet. I don't know if it'll actually get there. These are all decisions humanity will have to make when those things come to the forefront. The first thing is one, get ourselves healthy. Two, fully engage and understand everything that's been going on. What is our history? How did we get to this place? We need to understand how we got to this place so that it never happens again.
Yeah.
And we know how to protect ourselves to make sure something like this does not happen again.
Yes, which requires that we develop discernment through going through the experience and not denying it or ignoring it. And I know you have some ideas about this, because let's talk about empowering people. What do you feel is the most important focus for our audience to have and do for themselves right now?
If I could share the most important thing would be self-love. We all have to have an appreciation for who we are, what we've learned, what we've experienced, what we've all been through. And in the light of everything that's been going on behind the scenes, which we know virtually little about, the control, the manipulation, and the agenda that has been working against humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact that you survived all of it, you deserve a Purple Heart. You deserve a Medal of Honor, because you have no idea what you've been up against.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of us don't. And it doesn't, you know, Earth is a really tough school anyway. Third density is a very tough school because it's so dense. And it doesn't matter how much you've screwed up or you think you've screwed up. You know, it's all about acquiring self-knowledge. It's all about learning relationship. And every relationship we've ever had is always a mirror back to us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't see that, then you've missed that chapter.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I agree.
Sometimes there is no blame at all. And in most cases, there is no blame. Sometimes, but you know, I don't know the psychological words here, but the bottom line is this: wisdom comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. And we've all been there. We've all been there. But at some point, you know, we reach an age where we've been to the circus. We understand that we've been to the circus. And when we grow to a certain age and we no longer become a bad example, we suddenly have all this wisdom to spout and to share with everyone else. And that should be appreciated, you know, not only by everyone else, but especially by yourself. And to understand that you've gotten to this place. And the reason you've gotten to this place and you now have all this knowledge is because of all the people that have been in your life and all the journeys and experiences that you've had up until this moment. And you have to give yourself some kudos for that. You have to honor yourself. that you've had these experiences. And what's that line at the end of The Wizard of Oz? It only matters how much you're loved by others, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what success is that not only you love yourself, but that you're loved by others. That's the measure of success. It's not money. It's not a bank account. It's not a digital currency. None of that you take with you. What you take with you are not only the experiences, but the resonant energy of love that you have acquired in your specific lifetimes. You know, the love that you withhold is the pain that you carry lifetime after lifetime. Drop the mic.
That.
That's it.
Baba boom.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know?
It really is. And I agree with you that the two important things are, you know, to practice self-love and then to also consistently mutually respect others, right?
Yes.
That's another really important thing. You
well,
know,
everybody's a mirror. We're all mirrors for each other.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I realize looking at the world today, trying to imagine a world where everyone has absolute mutual respect is a real challenge. I get that. And in this particular time, it is, especially with the battle between the light and the dark going on, not only around us, but underneath us and in between us, you know, on a physical dimensional energy level. But future generations, they're not going to have this challenge. They're not going to have the challenge that we have right now because the world will be changing. It's going to be different.
Yes.
Humanity's going to be more enlightened. And again, I want to stress this. We are on the forefront of that. We are the new forefathers and foremothers of a global expansion of consciousness and a unifying of humanity into one race. You know, we can all keep our cultures because they're all unique and they're all really cool. But what's important is, okay, you have different cultures, but we're still one race. You just see things differently, you dance differently, you dress differently, you eat different foods. That's all awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that.
Yes.
But living together on this planet, we have to be one race.
Yes. We're all earthlings.
Terrans, actually.
Terrans, yes.
Terrans. We're all Terrans.
We're all Terrans, for sure. Well, and much more, as you know, from the DNA. So you wrote a book quite a while ago, Defending Sacred Ground, which I loved. And it may not be that available for people, but I'm sure you're going to work on rewriting it. However, in there is a section where the Andromedans were speaking of leadership. And I know for us as part of the transition team, everyone here, many people who are learning more about self-love and healing themselves do not feel that they qualify as a leader. And I believe everyone has leadership in them. So I'm wondering if you would read that section in that book where they, if you have it handy, where they would talk about what leadership is in their viewpoint as Andromedans.
I will do so. And thank you for bringing that up. I think that's it's very important. I also want to add before we read leadership that, ladies and gentlemen, even the extraterrestrials believe in a creator. They understand that something, some presence, not only created the space, which we call the universe, but it also created all the dimensions. And that is not technology any ET race has at all. So there is a presence. And, you know, whatever you've gone through, it's never too late to just acknowledge that presence. Wherever that journey takes you, just understand that the soul is and will always be, even in a state of denial, part of that presence. You'll never be detached from the presence. No matter how far you go into a state of denial, you will always be part of that presence.
Mm.
Leadership. This was given to me by Mornay. What is important this present time in your world is to know the pioneer leaders of your past who greatly influenced your world today are removed from the hearts of the people. The leaders of today, this present moment, should share and embrace the same faith, philosophy, and objective as the people. They, the leaders, should thereby raise each of the governed to his or her own level, ascending to the principles of consistency from beginning to end. These mistakes, as we have studied and observed, are that throughout your history, hero worship and fame-seeking has risen to the point of the idea your leaders are great and the general populace is ignorant and powerless. This concept in your country contradicts a true democracy and is wrong. So it shall be that individuals must and will awaken and unite voluntarily. Some will be the artists, scientists, and others from all walks of life. They will become teaching leaders of the people with whom they are working directly and will teach all men and women to be leaders. At the same time, it is also important that those who support them must become leaders themselves. To be a leader in your world, we would only suggest that the only requirements be simple and evolve from the real essence of mankind. Leaders should be in absolute faith in their humanhood, declaring always the greatness of God and self-responsibility. They should also have a strong sense of responsibility for themselves and those that they teach. A leader should always love his people, protect them, encourage them warmly into their own power and humanhood. The leader's sense of responsibility will deepen by his affection of his role as teacher, father, and or mother. When a leader lacks mercy or compassion, they will be self-serving and irresponsible. And a leader-teacher should always strive and be broad-minded. He should always try to be capable of understanding his members' needs and individual situations and putting himself in their place. A leader should practice gentleness and forbearance and be determined to hear the problems and teach guidance and self-determination to any person to establish self-faith and happiness. A leader always needs to be impartial. He must not be swayed by his own feelings or self-serving considerations. Always eager to give a fair hearing to reasonable suggestions, but firm in protesting self-serving goals or mistaken views, even to his seniors. Leaders should be careful of those who flatter them, as not to cater to their personal agendas. Leaders should cultivate the sense to spot cheap tricks, lies, and sneakiness. He must also put the right person in the right place and be courageous about it. The idea is to build long-term integrity in all aspects of life and leadership. Always acknowledge the inconspicuous efforts of others, as all souls are part and contribute to the whole. Your leader should also have self-confidence, courage, and decisiveness. Leaders must believe in their ability to protect his members and help them advance to self-responsibility so that all may become determined. Those persons who have done the inner work on the path of being a true human being acquire wisdom and are true leaders. They always have faith in themselves. And those who walk the path of heart will discover that through faith emerges wisdom. And this same faith enables the leader to employ his wisdom effectively in all situations. Courage is indispensable to the leader. Leadership is no place for cowardice. Always strive to advance wisdom and courage. Building an honest and healthy race of human beings means producing a world of leaders of the true law of oneness. Development of faith, integrity, and character is both the starting point and the end result. This will make all people capable human beings. Every child born in your world is a new opportunity to build an honest and real world. Leaders need not criticize each error on the part of their members or staff. A leader should praise them for what they have done well and capably. There will be other people who will criticize. Being a leader or becoming a leader does not mean you have perfect faith or wisdom. These are lifelong pursuits. Being a leader is to develop people and to help people into self-responsibility, spiritual maturity, and the freedom to cultivate voluntary introspection. Mankind can develop remarkably, even under adverse circumstances. When Earth awakens to her mission and towards her great objective, we will have full faith that you all will be successful and a source of great pride to us all. That last statement there, ladies and gentlemen, should comfort you and tell you that we are going to be successful. You must understand and you must know and you must feel that there are other powers here, powers of light, that are not only encouraging us, but they are willing us to step forward into our own personal power and to be who we truly are, and then to teach that to future generations. I know we can do this. You know,
Yes.
if you look at the history of humanity and all the things that have happened, we keep moving forward, bearing our children along the way. We never give up. Life finds a way, and we have to fully embrace that and know that that's us. That life, that presence is coming through us. That's what we're doing. So let's do it intentionally now, with a lot more intent.
Yes.
Where do you go from there?
It's beautiful, beautiful summation. And thank you so much for sharing the Andromedan wisdom. And I'm sharing with as many people as I know and the younger generation, saying, be prepared to use whatever skills you have to step forward in an uncorruptible way, because there's going to be a lot of vacancies as well as we make arrests and other beings are quietly retiring, all the CEOs by the thousands, for a variety of reasons. We need people to step forward. So please honor that you are a leader and you have been in these coming generations to do that. And we will have councils again, I'm sure, because, you know, that's often in all these independent federations on Terra, we will have the appropriate people that show a proven track record and that have, when scanned, have a very good developed consciousness with a moral intent and a pure heart.
That's exactly right. We're going to go back to the basics. Mm-hmm. Local government, local decisions, local direction, local input. Everyone will be involved. It's called a community.
Mhm.
Everyone's going to be involved. There will not be anything like what we have now, where 2,000 miles away, 453 men and women are making decisions of things they have absolutely no clue about and no authority to do it whatsoever anyway. So there's going to be a lot of dramatic change, but it's all good because we will be able to manage things locally. And, the better we do that, the more we do that, the less government we actually need because we learn to take care of our own. Okay?
And we accept the responsibility as co-creators with Source to
Exactly.
do.
That's exactly right.
Right on. Well, Alex, I'm so appreciative of you being here. You're such an honest, humble, and indomitable spirit. So will you share with people how they can locate you? I have done one-on-one privates with Alex that are lovely. And he also has very inexpensive, I might say, 2-hour Q&A webinars every couple weeks. So where do they go to find you?
AlexCollier.org.
You want to spell that?
AlexCollier.org.
Okay.
And there's stuff there. And if, James runs the website at JP, they are posting all the videos, many of which haven't been seen in years and years and years, back up on a YouTube channel. And, it spans the full 30 plus years. And I'm getting ready to send him a box of VHSs that go back even further that no one has seen. That's because there are 3 or 4 people in the audience. But there's some really good slide presentations and stuff. So
I remember those days.
Exactly. The back room of a bookstore, the back room of a bookstore or something. Yeah.
Well, you are very humble, and I know you've been through a lot, and people are refinding you and initially finding you, and you are considered by all of us an honored elder. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I just love working with you, and thank you so much for supporting our community in this way.
Well, Marilee, thank you for everything you've done. You continue to do. And thank Dan, who's behind the scenes working all the gizmos.
Yes.
For making it happen and being the stellar individual that he is throughout the years. We all belong to the Mutual Admiration Club now, so I appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Well, onward and upward, and all the best. And we'll be doing another show soon, love.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.